Well, thank you for inviting us. We actually used to come here all the time, right, Thomas?
You don't hear her talking to you.
You better get your wife, man.
Ain't nobody gotta get me.
Let's just order. I just want to have a nice night.
I don't know how you do it, Ava.
I see she tells you everything, huh? Palace. You know what? I can't do this. And what y'all looking at?
No rest for the wicked.
You are home now, and you are safe.
No light in the dark.
I tried everything.
No peace to be found.
You have taught me since I was a little girl to be a good wife.
Take all that
You think Stop! That boy put his hands on me!
But what happens when that's not enough?
Sometimes we hold on to the things that God himself wants us to let go of.
I didn't realize how deep in the red I was. When this divorce is over, I want to be in the black.
Girl, you got that man out of your house? Now we need to celebrate, get you a new man.
I am not even thinking about that.
my love away.
Honestly, I never liked the way he treated you. I always thought you were too good for him.
Aren't you glad to see me?
I gave up so much of myself to be with you that you haven't met the real me.
Stop repeating.
He walked inside your house, and now he's sitting outside the bank? Ava, you need a restraining order.
I'm gonna tell you this just one time. You better leave me alone.
Stop repeating.
Careful pushing a good woman too far.
No rest for the wicked. No light in the dark.
Peace, blessings, love, and light. It's your girl, Divinely Guided D, and I think I'm gonna enjoy this little segment, this show today. Well, convo, because it's not really a show, it's not a production, right? Anyway, so it's been a little minute. You know, I put up a video recently. There was you know, I've been going through some changes, and also trying to be mindful of my energy and what I allow to engage with me, because as I mentioned previously, I am very sensitive. For my empaths out there, you know what this means. You feel things that sometimes don't even belong to you, and so you have to be able to know when to be still, when you have to regroup and get yourself together, right? So anyway, that's that. It's been a lot going on. But I wanted to come to talk about Mr. TP, Tyler Perry himself. He is the gift that keeps on giving. And if you don't know, he recently released the movie Divorce in the Black. I believe that was it was through Amazon Prime. I gotta be honest, I didn't see it through there. But I did watch the movie. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was confused, horrified, entertained. Were you not entertained? And then, being the nice spiritual being that I am, I was able to look at it from different perspectives, right? From a different lens. And it was interesting to me, a lot of the I wouldn't say character development because we didn't really see much of a development, but I guess like the personalities, the characters that were created for this film. So for those who haven't seen it, I recommend it. You know, there's probably people who's gonna say, don't you even think about it, but you know what, these are some of the things that you have to decide for yourself. Where do you fall? What do you feel? What do you think? You know, real quick, I've been aware of Mr. Perry's work since I was a little chap. So for those who don't know, I'm a New York City girl, but I spent a little time in North Carolina. That's the only thing that I basically say Southern North Carolina. And I had a friend of mine. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Oakwood. So I was over her house one day, and then that's when I found out about Tyler Perry. The first play I ever saw was Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Fast forward to when they made the film adaptation. I think that was like 2005 or something like that. And you know, I thought that was a good film, and I think that maybe that film is probably in the archives for a lot of us folks, because it was us being happy for the fact that, okay, this is someone who we used to watch behind the scenes. You know, your auntie, grandma, uncle, somebody had some type of DVD, VHS, whatever, you know, bootleg, or however it came out, you know, however you received the what's that called, the artwork, right? And it was different because he was able to make a lot of us feel things, while also he was able to make us feel, hold ourselves accountable, while also touching upon spirituality, for some mainly religion, but I know he talks a lot about faith, and I know that has to do a lot with his own background, as far as his childhood, and probably him having to depend on his faith to even get to where he's at. And of course, that's something that he doesn't shy away from. So Tyler Perry has definitely been a contributor factor to many of our households, as far as like our education goes, our family dynamic to some degree, because he's well known for Madeir, which is usually the matriarch of the family. And we have a lot of those when it comes to Black and brown communities. There's usually a woman who's spearheading somehow. I know we talk about masculinity, machismo, and, you know, what's that other word, misogyny. You know, I know those are things that are words that are popular to use, but we also have to acknowledge the fact that the women, you know, the strong, bold female personalities in our families, right? And then that's what Tyler used as inspiration for the Medea character. So we had a few films that were decent. You know, I mentioned, like I said, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I like The Family That Prays. Why Did I Get Married 1 and 2. Those speak about relationships and, you know, friendship, and how do we hold our friends and ourselves accountable in our relationships, and how do we also accept our partners while also growing within our relationship. So those are films that I don't mind, right? I'm missing a few others. I think he tried to cross over with that Alex Cross movie where he was trying to do something a little different, more action based. That wasn't really I think one of his popular ones. There was also it's one that I can't think of right now, but he had a few films. Meet the Browns. He honestly, we have to give Tyler Perry credit for this. He definitely has good actors, cameos, but you wouldn't always know how good of actors these actors are, you know, when you see them in a Tyler Perry film. For instance, Angela Bassett was in Meet the Browns, but that's not her I wouldn't say her best role. And excuse me. He's also has had Janet Jackson, who was in Fame. She was in Poetic Justice. She was in other films. She was also in that Why Did I Get Married movie 1 and 2. And there she was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, especially when she had that the breakdown scene where she was just breaking things in her house. She was just frustrated, letting out all the frustration that she kept pent up. That wasn't bad. He's had some spin-off shows. He's had a very successful career, and he's assisted people with developing their own careers, in that he's provided opportunities for them, and that is beautiful. Now, fast forward to films that have not been the best. Fall from Grace, which was on Netflix, and Mea Culpa, which was on Netflix. It seems like when he starts to work with these networks, Netflix and Prime, I don't know, but these movies are not really the best quality. And I remember him saying a while back about work ethic, where he was showing, I think it was like 9 scripts that he was working on. It was several of them, and they were stacked. And he was like basically highlighting that the reason why he's successful is because of the the fact that he has work ethic. He said it with a little emphasis like that. However, there has been a bit of controversy when it comes to Mr. Perry, because he just seems to have an issue with collaborating with other people who want to who wants to also have a voice and a say in how some of the scripts are written. I was listening to other content creators who did deep dives, and I can't think of the name right now. And I do want to give credit, which I'm probably going to have to put a link below or something. But they were talking about how, I know it, Jessie Wu. Yes, Miss Wu herself. I was like, I know she's known. Okay, so Jessie Wu, she's on Dish Nation. Love that show. And she's one of those people that she's not afraid to speak up and, call somebody out. So she had showed clips of, what was it? I guess like there were issues with some writers that he had, I think back in 2008, and they were going to strike apparently. And, so I guess he was going to have something on site at his studio. And I don't know if it was a premiere or not, but I know that I guess there were memos sent out to tell those people, the big people, not to show up because there were going to be some type of protesting. And the reason why there's going to be protesting apparently is because these writers could not, they were not receiving health insurance, and they were not allowed to, and real quick, health insurance is minimal, but they weren't able to unionize. And it's very controversial for this to be the case for someone like Mr. Perry, because he comes from the background that he does, which is where he had to sleep in a car. He had to hustle his way. And to a certain extent, maybe that's another reason why he may not feel like that's necessary. But once you are able to get yourself to a certain point in life, it seems like your past shouldn't be the reason why you're why you're so cold, And I also want to bring this up from a spiritual perspective. These are things that I have seen that we've noticed in his films, right? Everybody knows, well, at least the few of you that listen to me for now. Y'all know how I feel about that Acrimony movie, and it pisses me off in the gallbladder, okay? And that is because it seems like he's a very interesting case study to me, because while he does speak on spirituality, there tends to be some form of resentment where it's like there's always a moment of he tried to break you, and they try to break you. And I think about the documentary. I watched his documentary as well on Prime, and his relationship with his mother and him growing up. And it seems like he, an issue one of the reasons why he may have an issue with collaborating with other writers is because he still relives those moments of terror when he was coming up. You know, a lot of the characters seem to be the same. A lot of people that comment on his artwork, his films, they say that it's very repetitive. There seems to be this, you know, we're against the you know, the black man, you know, or the darker brother, because it's usually someone that comes as a savior, right? But it seems like there's a part of him that has not let go of something, that has not healed, and it's showing in his artwork. And now, you know, we the consumers have contributed to this person that he has become, this unhealed person. And I say that because I think that because he is supported at the box office, he confuses that with him being correct in everything that he's doing, that it's not working. And by that I mean, he says, my audience knows my work. I have, you know, he basically is saying that his he does his artwork for a specific group, for his supporters. So no, he doesn't feel the need to change, adjust, adapt, any of the sort, you know. And at first I thought it was wonderful seeing written, produced, executed, you know, executed by, you know, Tyler Perry, right? Written by all of that. But then when you start to see, you know what, maybe other people's comment about this being repetitive, because the fact that I was able to say he tried to break you, you know, and certain lines like that, and you know, I think that speaks for itself. And you know, he's tried to do other things, get a little bit more explicit, and we've seen that, you know, I guess trying to branch out. He has a few shows on BET Plus. He has Sisters, bruh, I like that show. There was this one, I forgot the one about church. I heard it has to do with cults. I forgot. I never watched that one. And then he had For Better or Worse. He had that one, and then I think he had Meet the Browns for a bit. He's had a few. Well, but I don't think that was on BET Plus. But I think that you can still watch some of those shows there. But I know that that's where he has explicit stuff. I watch All the Queen's Men, and that one is very out there. Recently he had a comment to say about the highbrow, about people being highbrow now when it comes to his work. Excuse me, I was listening to something earlier. Let me see if I could pull this up. I don't think I've usually, you know, I've done this, but no, I haven't done this. I know that for a fact. Well, not on. Let me just find it. Let me see. Tyler Perry. Highbrow. Here it is. So this is a short from Ken Pyre. He's a YouTuber, and this is what it is.
So Tyler Perry has a response to the people that have been critical about his movies, referring to them as highbrow Negroes.
Yeah, but what? No. You got to drown all of that out, because if you let somebody talk you out of a place that God has put you in, you are going to find yourself in hell. I know for a fact that what I'm doing is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because for everyone who is a critic, I have thousands of used to be emails from people saying, this changed my life. Oh my God, you know me. Oh my God, you saw me. How did you know this about my life, my family? So that is what is important. We're talking a large portion of my fans who are disenfranchised, who cannot get in the Volvo and go to therapy on the weekend. So you've got this highbrow Negro who is all up in the air with his nose up looking at everything. And then you've got people like where I come from and me who are grinders, who really know what it's like, whose mothers and who were caregivers for white kids and were maids.
So Tyler...
Okay. So if you have not seen how he looks saying this, You can look it up. I'll let you look it up. But it seemed like he reverted back to a child. And he was like, well, you know, here goes the highbrow Negroes, and then there's people like me, you know, who we work hard, we're grinders. So we have to take into consideration. I just rolled up my sleeve, so if you heard that, that's what that was. We have to take into consideration that Mr. Perry has been far removed from certain parts of his past for a long time. I think that where he is still working on healing is, you know, he lost his mother a few years back. And then on top of that, in the this is information, mind you, that I'm getting for the documentary as well, and other interviews that he's done. But he was taking care of his mother up until, you know, she passed, and is still taking care of the man that he knew to be his father, but it turns out wasn't his father. And Tyler mentioned that maybe he was abused a lot physically by his stepfather, who, you know, he didn't call stepfather because he thought that was his father, but he feels as though that abuse happened as much as it did because deep down his father knew he wasn't his father, and that was something that he had accused his mother about, not Tyler, but his father, whether you know, about Tyler's paternity, and, you know, whether that he was his or not. So being that Tyler still takes care of someone who was a monster to him, that could be traumatizing. And for someone who has now grown up and is an adult, it still doesn't mean that those triggers are not there, because that was his first, you know, one of his first bullies, if not the, you know, main bully that he had. So it takes a lot for a person to say, you know what, even though I got all this money and I'm helping and stuff like that, I'll put my own feelings aside, although they're still there, you know. So, and by that I mean, let me clarify, we bury away parts of ourselves. And even though we try to do a good job at doing that, it comes out in different ways, different areas of our lives. And it's coming out in his films. You know, for some reason, the women seem to be weak. It doesn't matter how successful they are in their own right. Mia culpa. Kelly Rowland, the main character, she was a lawyer, right? Ended up losing her mind over her client who was accused of murder. This recent movie, Divorce in Black, which I want to just speak a little bit on, not really give much of a review. I know I mentioned that a little bit earlier, and then I got to this point of the conversation, but Divorce in Black, Ava, that was Megan Good's character. She worked in a bank, and she just didn't seem to have any form of control, or she just seemed like a mousy character. You know, like just like scared of just everything, scared of life, scared to breathe. You know, Fall from Grace, she was I forgot what that woman's job was. I know she had a good job, because then they accused her of something and then she got fired. It was just a lot. But I think that these films are also showing how he felt about his mom, which was maybe she had potential to, maybe she functioned, you know what I'm saying, professionally she was okay, but he just probably didn't respect her overall as a woman, you know, because we know that, what do we hear a lot of, there are a lot of men, because I don't want to just categorize everybody, but there's a good amount of men who say they don't care about their, you know, woman or lady, whomever, their partner's finances or career or what they do, right? So, and we see that because this is written from a male's perspective, right? from a man. Tyler Perry's a man, although he has dressed up as a woman for Medea, and and for the homecoming, he was over there trying to be like Beyonce at the ending credits, which I didn't understand what that had to do with the movie. But it seems like he has a little bit of disgust for the way women operate, and I think it's because he felt a little bit of disgust for his own mother for not being the woman that he thought she should have been, or could have been for him. And in the movie Divorce in the Black, there was a moment where Ava, she was shown a montage of, I guess, her accomplishments, and then after that, how her life changed after her marriage to Dallas. Dallas was his character is performed by Corey Hardrick, which is Tia Mowry's ex-husband. And people have mentioned how it's ironic, but not really ironic, that both Megan and Corey have gone through a divorce recently. Dallas was a horrible character, and I'm gonna just say that flat out. I don't know what in the world was going on with him and his two fingers, and yeah, him and the brothers, that whole dynamic. Tyler Perry just and somebody said this before, he writes, his films are more like plays, like just plays in on video, plays on film. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing I just said, just like reworded. But I was just trying to give more of a visual, right? And to some extent, I would have to agree with that. This man has converted a plantation into a whole studio where other companies, other people come and film. So I don't understand why it seems like the quality isn't really what it should be when he has the money to do so. So with this montage, and those accomplishments, and then the failure of marriage and everything like that, and how that affected her and took away her light, right? I think that in a way Tyler was trying to communicate that, like, these films are communicating, like, I think they're like an ode to his mother, Mom, I wish you would have been braver to do this. Mom, I wish you would have fought, you know what I'm saying? Or even shoot the guy, like, and not to kill him because you're a murderer, but to help yourself, Ava in the film, towards the end, she ended up taking matters to her own hands because, one, she had no choice. The man was in the house. She had guns set up around her home. After a while, after Dallas started wreaking even more havoc, right? Her father, played by, I think his name is Richard Lawson. He's Beyonce's former stepfather. Father of Bianca Lawson. She's an actress as well. She was in Pretty Little Liars, Bones. I'm missing a few. She's been in a couple of things. What's that one? I can't think of it. I was trying to think of that, the show produced by, on the OWN network, and it takes place in New Orleans. Queen Sugar. Bam, got it. Anyway, so she's in Queen Sugar. But anyway, back to Richard Lawson, her father, who plays the father in Divorce in Black. He's the preacher who, the reverend, and he was supposed to be ministering a wedding. I mean, ooh, Lord have mercy, don't make me lie. Not a wedding, a funeral. And that was the opening. So for those who haven't heard, you probably already have. Maybe you've already seen, I would think you have seen it by now. Because this review is way past the movie premiere. But what was I? So the father, he was supposed to be speaking at the funeral for Dallas's brother. And then it just becomes this hot mess. We all know now, for those who have seen it, that the Dallas's mother was not too fond of how the reverend was speaking on her dead son. And apparently, after she felt like she couldn't take it any longer, she had the rest of her remaining sons take out the cadaver out of the coffin, right? And with the plan of burying the body at the trailer park where they live at and where the rest of their family members have been known to be buried once they're deceased. So in addition to them taking out the bodies, she also flung off the clothing that they had donated to her. And there's a lot of things that Mr. Perry needs to definitely work on, especially when it comes to the narratives of the women he is trying to speak on, right? Because sometimes it seems like they're a little extreme and there's no nuance with much of the characters, and I think that's an issue. So let me see. So I played that Highbrow clip, and when you get a chance, if you haven't, pay attention to how he speaks in that interview. So he was interviewing with Keke Palmer on her podcast, and that's how that went. But this Divorce in the Black, it was just not it. At first I thought I was gonna mainly speak on that movie before I started recording, but I think I'm just so into my spirituality that I just I can't help but to see things from the lens that I view it. What I see is that Mr. Perry has a lot of healing to do, and it's been masked with money. And I think that he needs to forgive his mother, like really forgive her. And I need to forgive himself and understand that it wasn't his fault what happened, but what he chooses to do as a grown man, that is where he needs to take responsibility. Because the fact that he has all these workers that he employs, but they can't unionize, they don't have the workers' compensation or the what's that called, the human resource package that they should have, especially by law. People should receive those type of benefits. That's the word I was looking for, benefits. Because it's an even exchange, right? I produce this work for you as well, but I need to be able to know that in case something happens, it's not just me. I may have a family. Can I count on you the way you can count on me as your employee to deliver, right? It goes both ways, and I think we've strayed away a little bit from that part of connecting as people, right? Everything isn't just so quid pro quo, as far as like just in a selfish way, right? As far as you give me you guys know what I'm saying. I'm trying to reach for an example, but everything isn't just there's a difference between, you can use quid pro quo without it seeming negative, right? And by that I mean if it's an even exchange or where it's not like it doesn't seem from a monarch to peasants, because that's what it and I think that what I'm more a visual person too, so I think with that, if you could have that envision, like you can see Tyler Perry as the monarch, and then I guess the people who help make his films successful, they're just kind of like the peasants, right? So let them eat cake, right? So if you can envision that, then you'll be able to understand that that's not a even exchange. You live all the way up there in the top of the hill, king of the hill, but the ones that are actually contributing to that success of you even being able to be at the hill, we're not getting even the bare minimum, which is health insurance, or heck, even being able to unionize so we can at least lean on each other. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's something that it shows the type of person that he has become as a result of his own trauma, where it's been like, I've had to work this hard, so therefore they'll have to do the same. This is my production. I wrote this, I produced this, I executive produced these films because I have work ethic. So I'll definitely be back. This definitely took a turn, but I like that we're having this conversation. I think that it needs to be explored furthermore about how do we mask our traumas as adults, because there's a lot of grown children, okay, adult children. We're all somebody's child, but you know what I mean. There are people out here who they don't heal automatically or right away, so it may take some time. Some people, you may experience this at work, right, or wherever you're at, supermarket, anywhere where you see adults. Sometimes you could just be minding your business, and then it's just something about you that irritates their light. That irritates their demons. Your light irritates their demon. And, instead of them acknowledging, hey, I may, there may be something that I have to work on, they take it out on you, or they feel like, you're the issue. So then they have to either eliminate you, tarnish your name, XYZ. We see that a lot at work, where we say it's cliquish, so I don't want to stray too far away, but the point I'm saying is that, we grow up in age, by number, but it doesn't mean that we grow in wisdom. So sometimes we got to be mindful of that, and it goes back to protecting our energy, and we need to also learn to accept people for who they are. So many times we tie ourselves energetically to people because somehow we want to believe that they're going to be something else than what they've already shown themselves to be. So I guess what we can learn from Mr. Perry is to really free ourselves, and not be so afraid to let other opportunities teach us something different than what we've experienced before, right? Maybe Mr. Perry, like most of us, sometimes we may feel alone, so therefore we start adapting this whole lone wolf persona. And being a lone wolf isn't always a bad thing, but then when you have to collaborate with others, that can be a challenge, especially if you haven't already started to train yourself in how to balance being the lone wolf, but also being cooperative and collaborative with others. And I think that's where I think that's what's being highlighted here. It's like you've gotten yourself so far, but now Source is putting you in a different path where in order for you to maintain your success or be even more successful, you're gonna have to unlearn past actions and learn how to walk this new path. Tyler Perry has a bunch of opportunities with other networks. Before, you mainly saw him on TBS, USA, I would say BET, and OWN. And those things started gradually, but now he's working with Netflix Prime and I don't know what other companies, but he has an opportunity here to shift the way the film industry operates. And he started that with, actually being owner of almost all of his work that he puts, especially when he works with these networks. And then on top of that, converting that plantation into a studio, naming some parts of the studio after other actors and directors. He even had a studio name after Spike Lee, so there's definitely he obviously has something to offer the world, we all do, but we also have to understand that there are times when we have to get out of our own way. So with that being said, it's the girl Divinely Guided D, and as you know, I'm here to stay. And go check out that movie, and you let me know in the comments what do you think about it, because I'm really interested in learning about what people really think about it, so come over here. Even if you wrote another comments on other on the other reviews or whatever, come through. Have a good one, y'all.